What's going on, guys? It's your boy Random Guy Kevin. This is Thoughts of a Random Guy. We talk about many things dealing with love, dating, relationships, adulting, life's ups and downs, and the ever evolving world of just being a human. Don't forget to check me out on all your favorite social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website at randomguykev.com. Today's topic is Existing is Expensive Part 2, and my co host for this episode is
This is Tom, King of the Broke.
King of the Broke. Yeah, King of the Broke. I mean, I feel like we're all broke. When is like, I feel like we were told something when we were younger, like, hey, this is what being like having some money is, and then when you kind of get there, the line keeps moving back further and further and further, and it's like, what? Like right now, what is the idea of making it financially? Like, what does that look like? Is it a myth, or is it just like whatever you think it is, in your opinion?
I think it's crazy because the idea of making it is very different from when we were younger till now, right? Because
Yep.
when we're younger, we're going to school and everyone says, go to school, get a job, work hard at that job, and then you're gonna be good. You're gonna retire rich, right? A lot of
Yep.
people used to hype that up. Now it's, well, I think now to make it, you have to low key, like, the chances of you making it at a job is lower than the chances of you making it by, let's say, making content, right? or
Mm.
or doing, four side gigs, or then like getting on Wall Street, and then doing stocks and investments and meme coins, things like that. The idea of making it is so abstract and non linear now that, you know I think what people think of making it is you're living big, right? You got the cars, you got the house, you got the houses, right?
It's
You're
materialistic things.
yeah, you're traveling, you're all that, right? And so however you could get there is making it, right?
Yeah, and that's a crazy part. Like making it, like for us back in the back a couple years ago, before, I mean, it's the beginning of social media. Essentially, it's like, hey, you're making it when you're in you graduate with your degree, you get into your career field of choice, a good career field, like something in technology, something in like uh, healthcare, lawyer, scientist, something like that. And it's like, okay, you made it. That's what that was considered making it back a couple years ago.
Yeah,
And but nowadays, making it, I think it's whatever you define it as, because
yeah,
making it and making it could be, hey, I'm making millions, I'm doing this, but we care more about our own happiness and our mental health versus you know grinding out and trying to make it in a society that's dictated by social media.
right.
So like making it financially, I got a roof over my head, I'm able to constantly buy food, I still have a job, I'm making it, I'm able to travel, I'm making it, I'm good.
I
I feel like
agree.
that's making it. Like I'm not making millions, but I have somewhere to call home. I have food on the table. I'm not struggling for that. I have my job. I'm good. I am making it. I consider that in this day and age making it.
That's cool. I think there's a I have an argument to that, though. Is like,
Okay, go ahead.
you could be cool now, but the way the economy is right now, how long will you be cool for if you sustain what you have now? You know what I'm saying? Like, you having, let's say, for example, if you're making 8,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
How long until 8,000 a month is not enough? Because in our lifetime, we've seen the $100 go from, keeping you, good for maybe a week, to man, you go out and damn near you gotta spend 200. You
Yo,
know,
as
so
soon as you step out the door, it's 200 automatic.
instantly,
And it's like,
instantly,
damn.
bro. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember when 200 could stretch out, a while,
Yeah.
and maybe it's because I was younger, I had
Mm.
less bills, but I'm talking about 200 as in like just having that in your pocket when you go out and how long that lasts. You know what I'm
Yeah, you
saying?
got
So
that. You
like,
got that. You got that for the next until your next paycheck.
right, exactly. So, I agree with you on, okay, like maintain the house, maintain this and that, but I also disagree. I think as a human being, like you have to actually keep
Constantly push
getting
forward.
getting more money, yeah, or else
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
in a few years is not enough based on the way our economy is going.
Yeah, it's like all our jobs were. I mean, previously in the in IT world, we're constantly consulting or contracting. So never having a permanent spot because why have a permanent spot when I can make more
Right.
money doing the same thing I'm doing somewhere else for a time period. So a lot of times I used to consult. I used to consult for a good minute because the money was great. I
Okay.
used to get more money here, then I get more money here. But it was like, I didn't get health insurance, I didn't get this. But it'd be like, I mean, I could, get that Obamacare or whatever healthcare thing happening. I'm good money. But then it's like, I'm looking for stability. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you look for stability, sometimes the downside of stability with certain companies is that there is no potential for growth financially. There may be a yearly incentive, but some companies, suspend that for a year or two or three because they're not, making enough money. And then it's like, okay, but bills continue to come in, inflation still goes up, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, now the money I was making 3 years ago isn't as good as it is today because I haven't gone up in price. And it's like, I'm still broke. And
Yeah.
why does it feel like, everyone is broke when most of us have, we're working full time jobs and some of us are working, overtime. Some people do get those overtime hours, overtime bonuses, but they still feel like they're broke. Why do you feel that way? What are your
I
thoughts on
think
that?
I think it goes back to just the concept of making money right now is so different from what our parents taught us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because right now I do think that the if you're successful, you're making more money with less time,
Mm.
right? It, if you're working more and you're making more, it doesn't mean that you become more successful. You're just putting in more hours. You're
Yeah.
you're you're trading you're trading more time for more dollars. Whereas I think nowadays being rich is spending less time but getting more money for it. So for people working full time and they're only getting that full time check, then you could argue that they're still broke. Does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. I mean, you're broke. For you, broke is, it's a personal thing. Like for me personally, like I consider myself broke when if I don't have like if I hit my minimum threshold of allotted money spent, I can spend. I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, damn, I can't go out. I'm broke.
Right.
And be you're not broke. Yeah, to me, I'm broke right now because I put money over to my savings. I spent money for groceries. I spent money on these things that I wanted or needed, and now I'm at my cap right now. Of okay, I'm comfortable with this amount of money in my bank account. After that, below that, nah, I'm good. I'm considered broke right now because I don't want to
Yeah.
spend over. I don't want to spend this extra money. That's when I consider that I'm broke.
I
And
think I
over,
think you're I think
go
you're
ahead.
more responsible than a lot of people that I've met before. A lot of people, they don't have that extra money for savings, right?
Yeah.
I think first of all, like me and you, maybe we could say we're more blessed than others. Maybe we're able to save, right?
Mm.
Um, I remember a time when my goal was to hit, like 8,000 a month, thinking, man, like that I'll be good. I'm good
Yeah.
from there, right? And then when you get there, and even with combined income with my wife,
Yeah.
it's like, oh no, like I need more. It's
that's
not enough.
always what it is, because the more you make, the
Yeah.
more taxes you get hit with.
The more
And
taxes,
then it's like
exactly.
the more you're like, damn, I'm broke. And like I
broke,
tell people,
yeah.
when I used to work in New York and live in New Jersey, I get hit with double taxes. I get hit with the New Jersey tax. I get hit with the New York tax. So immediately you could take off $20,000 a year from whatever you're initially making,
Easily.
and you just be like, shit, I'm broke.
That's
Not
what
including
it is,
commute,
man.
just taxes. And that's why I say, like, any place you go to, just immediately take off 20, like, take off 20,000 immediately.
Easy.
You have to, because the we get raped in taxes, and it makes it like, damn, I thought I was making this amount, but I'm not, because I'm getting taxed on it. Now I'm definitely broke, because in your mind you had a specific amount that you were gonna make monthly because of this, but it's like, oh no, I have to pay, Medicare, I gotta pay Social Security, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay, all. It's like, bro, what the hell is happening? And
Kev, we
a lot of
need
times
to-
people do not talk about their salaries.
Right.
Talk about your
Right.
salaries. Talk about what you're making. Like, you could be doing the same job as somebody, have the same title and everything. They could be making more than you. They could be making less than you. Like, I don't know what was like the whole taboo thing of talking about your salaries, talking about raises, talking about like your financial situation. No, let's talk about it. Let's have an actual discussion. Like, yo, bro, it costs me like for me, my monthly bills, they're all in a spreadsheet for me. Like, okay, this is how much I paid on this. This is how much I paid on this. And I have, since I got this house, I have a year to year comparison of, okay, how much I spent on this, how much I spent on that. And if I notice something changing, all right, let me hit them up. Like, I had to hit up Comcast. I didn't hit up Comcast because my bill changed. Like, shit, they was charging me like because I got high speed internet, because gaming and video streaming and all that. So I was paying like $80 a month. And that shit shot up to like $120. I was like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, something's off. And I always, and in most cases, I do 90% of the time I check my bill, because I don't think it's gonna change, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, I feel like some fuck shit's gonna happen. Let me check this shit.
Well, we got to point out the fact that like people don't like the middle class, right? Like we're deep in the middle class, and everything kind of works
really
against
middle
us.
class anymore? Like, it's
I
like
don't think
it's like
so.
different. It's different levels in the low class. It's different levels in the middle class, and it's different levels in the high class. And like, even whatever they choose as a middle class now, it's still like, you're still broke. Middle class don't mean shit these days.
I mean, middle class, you get taxed to the point where someone making like, early six figures, right? Like 100K or so, and someone making, let's say, like 60K, their take home money is not that much different. It's a couple $100 difference, and that's largely because of tax. And the one of the main things that I feel like people don't want to mention too much to other people is because, well, people don't like the middle class. Middle class is not cool. You want to see how, like, people want to show off how much they're going to Disneyland and like they're traveling.
But you want to
right?
show off
People,
everything.
No one wants to see you in middle class, bro. Like, so I think there's a taboo, and I think the taboo is because, like, in our lifetime, a lot of our friends are coworkers. We're not. It's not like the past where like we're just with our family, and then we have like friends in like different clubs and shit. Like that. That's a thing in the past. Our friends are like our coworkers.
A lot of the friends you make are the ones you work with.
Right. Or there's some sort of like friendly competition where like you don't want to humble brag, right? Like there's things like that in society now that I think makes it weird to bring up how much you make, right? And and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, if I'm making a lot, I also don't want to put that out. You know, I don't
Yeah,
want
yeah,
people to know.
yeah. You don't want people
Damn,
to
like
know
Tom's like
because
that.
people judge
You
you
know,
on how much you make.
exactly, exactly. And then it'll be weird if I go out and then I'm still trying to split the bill with them. You know,
Yeah, I'm
I
not.
feel like
You're being a
there's
cheap one. It's funny.
yeah.
I just sent you something on Instagram,
Uh huh.
with the chart where it was like, the poor is making this amount, lower middle
I
class, upper
see
middle
it.
class, and rich. So it's like, poor, was 32,000 and less. Lower middle class is considered between 32 to 53,000. Middle class is considered 53 to 106, 106,000. Upper middle class 106 to 373,000, and above that it's
That's
rich.
a big.
But in this new screenshot, it's like broke. What you consider broke is 32,000 and less. Very
Right.
poor is between 53 and 32,000. Upper poor is 106k to 53k, and then surviving is 106 to 373k, and then middle class is above that. So I ain't gonna hold you. Upper poor and very poor and surviving is funny because it's real, because
It's
there's
true.
graphs out there that show the minimum you're supposed to make in each state, and each state is literally like six figures. You have to make at least six figures
You have
to
to.
live comfortably.
Yeah. You have
Minimum.
to, and that's why, and you know what? Let's just be real. Six figures is not accessible for a lot of people, right? Like
It's not.
even if you do get to six figures, like it does take a good amount of work to reach that, right?
Mhm.
And so that's why you have so many people like millennials or younger where we feel like, okay, we have to be an entrepreneur, we have to do side gigs, we have to find 3 to 4 ways of income to really feel like we're good, right? And then it's also it's easy for that to go away in one day because those are
Yep.
not solidified. Those are, if you're lucky, they're contract based, right? If you're
Yeah.
smart, they're contract based. But a lot of times, you know what, it's just a side gig that it's there for this year, it's not there next year. And
Yeah.
what are you gonna do about that? So we're constantly on the grind.
And the thing is, talk to your friend. Let's have real discussions about finances, because I mean we all in our circles, we have friends that make an X amount, and we know they make an X amount, and we're just like, I know you got money. And it's just like what do you like? Are you save like financial strategies? We don't talk about that enough. Like I have friends that are bankers that they do XYZ. I have friends that are lawyers that do XYZ. And then I have friends that work at the supermarket,
Yeah.
around the same age as me, and it's like, you're not like, to me personally, I'd be like, oh, you're not a manager. Oh, you're just like, okay, I get it. Shit, it happens. We all
Yeah.
had, again, it's hard for us to get into certain positions. Not for everybody, but it's hard. And then a lot of times I try to help my friends to get hired at, better positions at my job or other jobs that I see, and kind of take it from there. But sometimes, again, we all struggle. We all struggle with something financially, because you're always gonna have somebody, yo, I need to borrow a little bit, and that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
You can't trust the wrong people with your information,
Yeah.
especially financial
I
information.
feel like I feel like that's why it's important for people to adapt to today's age, which is, you need more time, right? And I keep stressing that because I truly didn't feel like I was financially good until I was able to spend less time trying to make money. You know what I'm saying? I made way more money by trying to condense my time. And in return, what happens when you do that is your 8 hour a day stretches a lot more, because that's covering a lot more base than if you were, let's say, at a supermarket working 8 hours. You know what I'm saying? You have to look for
trying to do
ways
everything.
you have to look for ways to make that same, let's say, $200 within half an hour instead of the full day. You
Yeah.
have to look for it that way, and there's no right or wrong answer on how to do it. You could do a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube video, and you could spend hours, right? But then later on, after you automate the process and you're able to get an editor, you're spending an hour just recording and it gets done for you, right?
Yeah.
You could literally spend an hour a day studying the stock market and get yourself to the point where you can make
You're
really
trading
good
in stocks.
decisions. Yeah, and you're trading, and that's just your morning, but you're gonna make more money than you ever made in your life, possibly, right? So you have to adapt, and I can't stress enough how important that is now, because you see a lot of older people like our parents' age who are not able to. Yeah, so we have a lot of our parents that didn't adapt, and they're not able to survive in today's society without some support, and I think that's pretty sad.
Yeah, and I agree. I think those are, and a lot of those people don't realize they're the DE and I hires. A lot of the
Hmm.
older folks are DE and I hires, because I mean you can't just fire a person for being old. Well, you shouldn't be, but it should all be based on skill, and a lot of them don't have the skill set to match what's going on in today's world, and um, you know, having debt, that's a huge thing that makes it harder for you to you know make it in this world now. And like student loans, credit card debt, the rise of rent. Oh my god, rent.
Yeah,
The cost of rent makes no sense to me, because it's like the amount you pay for rent, you might as well just own a home, but then you
yeah,
still need to put a down payment on the home to get it. But it's like, guys, it's okay to live at home, and a lot of people are living at home well into their 30s before purchasing a house, or some of them are not getting apartments. People are getting homes. Like it's a waste of money to get an apartment if it's going to cost you 2,500, 3,200 to live in an apartment per month, where the same thing for a mortgage for a house, it's like around that same cost. It's like, damn, the amount you're spending on the apartment, save that up for your house. And like a
yeah,
lot of in the Haitian culture, parents normally don't want you to leave until you're good to go off into the world as an adult. They're just like, oh yeah, you could come home. You're right after college, come home, make your save your money, pay no bills. And in some Haitian households, pay no bills, stack your funds, and then get what you want to get. And like a lot of people want to get apartments. That's cool. Do whatever fits you. But like I stayed with my parents. I got my house when I was 30, 31.
hmm,
And I had enough saved up, put the down payment out. Like I was looking for like a year and a half, 2 years first before that, because the market was shit. But I didn't get I felt like I don't want an apartment. I'm good. I've had roommates. I want my own space. Like if I'm spending this
yeah,
amount on a quote unquote luxury apartment, it's not mine. It's not my space. This is not really mine. The house is mine because it's an investment. And it's like, all right, you got to talk to people that own property. You got to talk to people that understand how to manage money, and you have to have those financial discussions to take the next step in your life financially, because owning a home is not easy. There's so much maintenance and shit you got to do.
yeah,
It's a lot of shit. And it's
yeah,
good to have a conversation with people that own homes, or financial managers, shit like that. You have to be able to have those talks about money. Not everything you see on TikTok. I mean, I know people that follow TikTok religiously for any of their information. Not everything on there is true. It's just
yeah,
like Wikipedia. I can falsify this information and spread it around, and somebody may think, oh, this is real. I'm going to share the same information and do the same info video that I just did, giving false information. Do your research.
Kev. The
Oh,
problem is, though, people people don't have the patience to do that, right? Like people want to get out of the house by the time they're 21. You know,
Yeah.
people want to imagine that in 2 years they've made it, right? They're already like
Yeah, right out of
on a
college, I
yacht
made it.
somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Like it's not. There's a sense of reality that isn't realistic, and
Yep.
you know, the problem, the difference with what you said about what you did versus what most people are doing is that they're spending every cent that they have on just going out. You know, they're not
Yeah.
saving, and they're getting that new whatever that they want. You know, like I know I have a friend that she spends like $10,000 a month on makeup, bro, and I'm like, okay,
Shit.
like I get it,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta look good, but I could argue that you can't afford that, you
Yeah.
know, based on what she does, and you know what, like, teach their own, that's her decision.
Correct.
I just
Yep.
think that, you know, there's a lot of people, especially in our generation, that don't have that uh financial management skill. You know,
Hmm.
they don't have self-control, and
So,
that's a big issue.
do you feel like people are living above their means, or just,
Absolutely.
or are wages just not keeping up with what's going on now?
It's both. It's both. We're not living to our means, right? And then
Hmm.
so as the wages become less and less, you have less to back off, to back you up. You know what I mean? So it's a domino effect in a sense.
Yeah.
And the people that have prepared, they're preparing because they already know, damn, one day something might happen and I'm gonna need this money. And if the recession hits tomorrow, well, you know what? I'm good, right? But a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have that cushion. And like when you own a home, that's the one thing you need, a cushion. You need a cushion
Yeah.
of at least $10,000, just because you
Oh,
never
for
know what
sure.
might happen. I mean, even if
For
it's like
sure.
$5,000, you need a reasonable cushion where it's like, all right, I'm good here. Even like your credit cards. If you're a credit card person, I like to collect points too, on
Yeah.
my United card. But the one thing about credit cards, you have to pay those off. You can't just let them you can't just let them stack up just to stack up. You
The
gotta.
whole digs itself fast. The
Yeah.
whole digs fast with
Yeah,
credit
and
card
they
debt.
always increase your credit line. They will
Yeah.
always increase your credit line. So you're just like, oh, I have more to spend. No, you're broke. You're in a
Yeah.
negative because of your credit card.
Yeah.
My dad has always taught me, hey, if you don't have the money, don't purchase it. And if it's something that's a want, you get no. If it's a want, you don't need that right now. If it's actually a need, then that's when you, hey, if I don't really have the money, I'm gonna dump it on my credit card because I need that to do what I need to do. Not I want that because I want it. And it's like, as long as you, I wish they taught financial literacy in high school.
Right.
Financial
They
literacy in
really
high
should.
school. Oh my God, these kids, these kids right now, all on these NIL deals right now, like they living on cloud nine. A
You
lot of them are
know,
living on cloud nine, but uh, I think a lot of people are living above their means and trying to show off for other people just cause, hey, I want to show I got this. Oh, I want to show I got this. And when you actually look at the billionaires and millionaires, they wearing cheaper shit than you
yeah.
because they know where it come from.
You know, that was a good point. Like teaching financial literacy in high school, because I remember, you know, we had pottery class. You know, we had some, like, you know, I guess home economics is
Yeah,
good,
home
but
economics. I mean, home
it's
economics
cool.
isn't bad.
It's cool, but what's more important than your bank account, you know?
Yeah.
And it's always been a question of mine, like, why don't we teach the kids that, you know, in the institution? Like, why don't we prioritize that? And there's a big problem right now, is that teachers don't make enough either.
Oh, they don't
Teachers
make shit.
actually,
It's
they,
it's
it's one of
babysitting.
the it's one of the worst paying jobs in America, and that's a huge problem. That's so, because like what are we prioritizing in school, right?
Not a
like,
damn thing.
we're not prioritizing teachers, we're not prioritizing financial literacy, we're
Nothing.
you know we're facing like political agendas at school. Like what is going on?
It's
right?
all politics in school, and it's like you guys are getting rid of the wrong things. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like you got to be teaching these kids, and then like supposedly in certain states, kids are just passing. Like no kid left behind. Like they literally no kid left behind. These kids are having F's and D's, and they're just passing them.
Gosh.
And then you have these kids that go into the world. They don't know how to read, write. They don't know how to do simple math. It's like, bro, what the fuck did y'all learn? What are we spending our money on? And this is
how do you learn how do you learn from a teacher that's probably making less than like what 60K? I personally
some
know
of them is
some
like
teachers
30K.
that make less. Right. And so these adults who've chosen to be teachers, what's stopping them from one day being like, damn, I'm not getting paid enough to deal with these kids?
COVID happened, and a lot of teachers decided to be like, yo, I could make more money doing this instead of this. Bro, a lot of teachers left. Right now there's a teacher shortage in the US because teachers they're not getting paid enough.
That's a huge problem that we're not focusing on. Like if I was to pick where my tax dollars go, teachers would be one of them.
Yeah, but no, definitely.
The thing is, we're not setting up people for success in this economy right now.
Nope.
They're coming out of high school, and I personally, I'm really proud of my little cousin. She graduated UCLA recently, right? But okay, that's good. Finding a job is damn near impossible, right? So now for someone like her, I'm thinking, okay, you actually need to position yourself right now to find 4 to 5 different ways to make income if you want to survive in the next 10 years. I would never suggest her to just find that one job and work hard there, and then hopefully they get you to a manager position. I would probably tell her, hey, like, maybe that's not the move, and it sucks to think about that, because that's honestly what we grew up thinking life would be.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's weird. It's like, do you feel like social media influenced our perception of wealth, success, and lifestyle? I think it has, because, again, social media it's bringing everything to the forefront. We have visibility of everything at the palm of our hands. Whereas a couple years ago, before phones and all this social media stuff, we didn't have that much. We had access, but not like this, to this extent, to see what people are doing, and then people being like, hey, learn how to make 6 figures following my course type thing. And people are, all right, shit, I want to learn how to make 6 figures. Let me pay for this course and jump in there. So like, a lot of that stuff had to be mailed out at one point, and you look at it and be like, another spam mail. Now it's like, oh, it's in my face. This is a sponsored post. Maybe I am interested in doing this. Maybe I do need this.
I think social media and the internet in general, it's both good and bad, right? There's the bad is what you just said, and the bad is it's honestly allowing people to have less patience because they think that there's so many like ways to get rich fast, right? But the good thing about the internet, specifically social media, is that there's also a bunch of blueprints for you to follow, right? Yep. And if you use social media as a tool in the right way, you could see it as a hack to success. It is possible.
You could see where people failed and where people won, and kind of design it your own way.
Exactly. I think a lot of people who have made it did do that, right? You look at someone
it's
like
a small
streamers.
Number. Very small percentage, because a lot of people are dumbasses. They didn't go to school. They didn't learn how to research their sources and confirm the sources are correct. They just, hey, I'm going to spew this out, oh, this seems correct, and it's not correct. Find your sources and confirm that it's correct.
I saw an interview with Mr. Beast, and he was telling the interviewer, look, like, he dropped out of school. He didn't go to college. He didn't do none of that. But what he did do was he spent years and years, hours at a time studying YouTube, studying every single detail, retention, thumbnails, video time, and how you engage and everything. He engineered every single part of his video based on the data. So you have to take into your own accountability of, okay, like, how do I measure success with a blueprint in front of me versus just, you know, coming across some YouTuber that's like, hey, let me teach you something, and then believe and going all in on that, you know?
Yeah.
I think you definitely need to be realistic about that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a pressure for having some type of side hustle with, like, you always see a video like, hey, if you aren't doing real estate or you don't have a license to do this, then you're messing up. You should be having 3 or 4 side hustles so you can hit that 6-figure mark. It's like a lot of times people are being shamed because they don't have that extra step or extra thing to make money. And it's like, why are you shaming? Like, sometimes people don't have the capacity to do all that extra stuff. Sometimes people, like, for example, a felon. The felon could have a degree, a master's and doctor's degree in something, but they're already alienated from 95% of the jobs that would take them if they didn't have a felony charge on their their thing. And so now they have to go into business for themselves, and yes, they have to hustle, they have to do XYZ. So some people are like not given the opportunity to step into career roles with like bigger companies, to the point where, hey, I have to do my own thing. So I might have this little gig here as my part-time, but then I do these other side gigs to make that excess money that I need.
Would you say it's a real solution, or is it like a burnout?
I feel like at some point you burn out from overworking. You burn out from having all these side gigs because now you don't have time to relax, refresh yourself, and get back out there. You are always, like you said, if you could get it done in the 8 hours of a normal day, then that's cool. But if you're using up 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 hours, 16 hours a day trying to grind out and make that money to be financially there, considered making it, then it's like you're gonna burn out. And I get it, at some point it's gonna happen, but it's rough.
I think if you think about the fact that you have 24 hours in a day and you need to sleep 8 of those hours, right? Yeah. How much time do you have to enjoy your day? That, again, if you're making, $300,000, but you're working 12-hour days and you're not able to afford vacations, I would say you're broke. You don't have the time to enjoy what time that you have in your life. If you're really, all you're doing is working until you have that retirement, and then you're gonna spend that money, then you're broke until you retire then. So I definitely think that you side hustle, it's a solution, but you can't burn out from it by working.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the only way you're making money, like, at some point you're gonna crash.
Yeah,
you're overwhelming yourself, especially if you're spending well over 8 hours doing it.
Yeah,
right, like that's your life. Like, you wake up to just go to work and do work every day. You go home to just go to sleep and then eat and then shower and redo the same thing again.
Because sometimes being broke is not determined by money. It's determined by time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
How much quality of your time do you have? So I definitely think when the rich, what they do is they have money to have more quality of time, right? That's
Yep.
what the real rich experience, right? I have friends that have companies that make pretty damn good numbers, but they're averaging 12 to 16-hour days. You're not you're not you're not actually rich. Like you're slaving away to
You're,
money.
yeah, you're slaving away to make that. So, like, what does financial freedom look like today? And is that even achievable now? Like, I think everybody's viewpoint on a financial freedom is different.
Yeah.
But like, what do you think? What are your thoughts?
Financial freedom to me is time, right?
Mm.
And again, I understand you have to have money to have financial freedom, and in the same sense you have to have money to have time, right? So there's a balance to that answer, but you have to be able to have enough time in your day to enjoy your day, to be with people you love. And honestly, um, the less time you spend trying to make money, the better it is, but the thing that sucks is the threshold for that is so high because of our economy today.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Time. Having your time back to do the other things that you love.
Yeah,
That's financial freedom, and it is
exactly.
achievable. I mean, it could be achievable at any age, because again, we got millionaires at, you know 6 years old that do YouTube videos of them just eating food or playing with toys, and people watch that. People pay for that.
But you know what that is though? That's you enjoying what you do that makes money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like if you enjoy making videos and that makes you money, that's like the most financial freedom of them all, right? Because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're you're doing what you love and your time is spent in the most efficient way possible because it brings you money.
No, I get you. And as we come to the end of this episode, what do you want to leave people with in regards to existing is expensive?
I think don't be too stubborn to adapt to the time, because to be able to afford to exist nowadays, you have to be a little creative. You have
Mm-hmm.
to you have to prioritize your time and you have to have a plan. So don't be too stubborn to try new things. And again, financial freedom it doesn't have to be a myth if you have a plan.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. But as we come to the end of this episode, you guys can find me on all social media platforms at Random Guy Kev and my website, randomguykev.com. Don't forget to check in, and I will catch you guys on the next one.